Good morrow and happy today.
Yeah, okay. Hold on a second. Yeah. Tell Michael Saylor I'll be there for his 100K Bitcoin party. All right, put me down as a maybe on that. Hey, buddy, sorry about that. We had some weird stuff going on, and Michael Saylor's trying to get a hold of me about the Bitcoin party, and I don't know what's going on here as we continue around the world and across the web on the Bitcoin Live Network. All right, good to be here, and it looks like the connection is solid, and the restream is holding up for us.
It looks like we're back.
Oh, crazy.
Okay.
I try to tell Saylor I'm doing this thing with the Bitcoin Live Network. You should come on. He's like, nah, dude, I don't want to take away from Gerald Bata. He's
nice
a humble guy, dude. He's a humble guy.
Awesome. So today's show is a continuation of last week's show, but let's get into our sponsors really quick. The folks at Quantum Expeditions, we want to thank them. Obviously, if you are in the space and you'd like to get into Bitcoin mining, this is a great introduction into Bitcoin mining and an easy way to get in the space. Definitely check it out. Quantum Economics and also Shield Folio is our other sponsor. They basically have a little passphrase book that protects all your seed phrases. It's really great. If somebody happens to find it and peek inside, they don't see anything, you have to have a special light to read the seed phrase. So take a scan of that QR code, get the 20% discount, and definitely take advantage of that.
Kind of like you need luminol to spray on that to see the code words, the seed words. You need some luminol.
Yeah, it's basically the same concept. I
watch a lot of CSI.
Yes, indeed. Today's show is a continuation of last week's show, which was called Launchpad. This week's show is called We Have Liftoff. So the first thing I wanted to take a look at is a liquidation heat map. Now I'm on my phone and I had my computer, so hopefully Nick can grab these. Let me see. Share.
I can try and pull them up for you too.
Let's give it. Oh, it seems like it's working. Let's see. Did that come up, Nick? No. Okay.
I've got one here. I'm pulling up. Hopefully, what is going on? Everything is just really slow this morning or today. Here, I've got one. I can pull up here of a liquidation heat map. So it's on my screen there, Nick. If you want to grab that, there it is.
Okay.
So I can tell me if you want me to zoom in for you.
Well,
so this is as of the latest one.
Yeah, if you could go to there's one at there's another site I use called CoinAnk, CoinAnk.com. And if you just go to Google and put CoinAnk and put liquidation map, they have a really good one.
Charts would it be under liquidation?
Yeah, that's let me see if I can get it to it another way.
Hold on, I'm gonna try and find it here. There we go. There you go. Let me switch.
Did you find it?
I've got one here. Let's see if this is the right
worries. Let's see. Nope.
All right, is this the one here? I think I've got it here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
this
mean,
is
this
the one.
isn't, but yeah, because you can't really visualize it. But there's like about somewhere between like 1.5 and $2 billion of new shorts that have been placed from about let's see, from roughly, of course, now my internet's not working. Awesome, great. Yeah, so from right about 92 to about 98. And then literally there's like a few small shorts, right? That's the one. Right around 100K. But as you can see by this one right here, I mean, look at those shorts compared to the ones that just got burnt. Look how big they are. I mean, these are some massively huge shorts. Again, somebody does not want Bitcoin to hit 100K right now. My theory is obviously the big banks. And you can see by that picture alone, most of those are on OKEx. There's a lot on Binance. Orange is Binance, blue is OKEx, if I'm not mistaken. But there's, again, it looks like, I mean, it's a really small picture on my phone, but it looks like it's over $1.5 billion again worth of shorts. So, I mean, this is not going to happen this week, right? So that's the whole point of this picture, is that Bitcoin is not hitting 100K anytime in the next few days, right?
Well, Fred Kroger would disagree with you. There's some analysts out there that would disagree. Fred's calling for 100K this week.
Yeah, well, Fred's wrong. So
here comes the spice. Here comes the
sorry.
spice.
I mean, if he doesn't look at a heat map, how could he make this assessment? There's so much resistance to all these positions, right? As soon as it gets to 93, there's like literally it's going to bump back down to 90 like hard. So again, it's got to break through all of these shorts, and then what you're going to see is you're going to see it go up and then come down, up and then come down, up and then come down, just like those three waves you saw on those shorts. And then once it breaks through those three shorts, then yeah, I mean, there's only, like I said, a few small shorts at like 99 and some change. But then if it breaks through 99, oh my gosh, I don't know what could happen. Could it go to 120? Could it go to 300? Could it go to 1.2 million? Yes, it could. But we got to break through that resistance. And what I can tell you is the new pattern, which I said in the last show, which was Tuesdays. I did a little bit more research on that pattern. Now I don't have a 100% confirmation that this pattern is correct, but hear me out. So basically, what's been happening is the ETF sucks all this cash up into the Bitcoin ETF, right? And it literally just sits there for about 30 days. Then at the end of the 30-day cycle, they take all of that money and Coinbase processes it and puts it into spot Bitcoin. And that day has been falling, I think, around the 5th of the month. So they go to take all of that cash, buy spot, put it into cold storage for all the ETFs. And then right around the 5th is when we see, and we sold November 5th. I'm not sure if it happened on September 5th, but I have a funny feeling that December 5th, which happens to be my mom's birthday, rest in peace, Mom, that we might see this again. It might fall on that Tuesday, which I think is like the 2nd or 3rd, but I think it might be December 5th. So the first week of December is when I think we're going to see this. So jot that down.
Okay, I'm jotting it down right now.
And I'm excited. So the good news is, we're here, right? We've been waiting for this time since 2020, and the powers that be in 2020 with the FTX/Binance war and the big short that BlackRock had that year. And, we didn't discuss that, but BlackRock had a massive short that year that as soon as Bitcoin went back down into the 30s, boom, it paid out. And that's when Larry Fink fell in love with Bitcoin. But yeah, so all signs point to it's not going to happen as soon as we want, but it's definitely on in the cards. We just got to get through all of these shorts, and once we blow through all these short positions, after 100K, that's the Samson Mao region. That's the uncharted territory where Samson is calling for the Omega or Godzilla candle. Yes. And I saw your little tweet about Elon. Yes, Elon is secretly becoming a massively big Bitcoiner. I mean, he's already been a Bitcoiner, but now he is becoming like a Sailorite. And I know this because I've been following his account for the last about, I want to say 2.5, 3 weeks very closely. And ever since about a month before the election, if you notice, he started sharing all these high profile Bitcoiners tweets. Preston Pish, Walker on America, like all of these people who are like big time Bitcoiners, he's been starting to share their tweets regularly. And it's been happening for over, I want to say, a month. I pointed it out to Nick a few weeks ago, and Nick's like, aha, I see. And then you pointed out today where he's wearing an Omega pendant. So yes, Elon is paying attention because he sees that Donald Trump is paying attention. So he knows that Donald's not a dummy, right? He knows that RFK is not a dummy, right? So if these guys think that Bitcoin is something special and he doesn't, then that means he's the odd man out. And he's trying to figure out why he's the odd man out. And I'll tell you why Elon's the odd man out. Because you like Doge, bro. And there's nothing wrong with Doge. I have Doge t-shirts. I have Doge socks. I used to have a huge bag of Doge, right? But Doge is, it has, unfortunately, an ever increasing supply, right? It's, last time I checked, it was like 130 some billion, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see if I can get, oh, wow, my computer is working. Let me get on CoinMarketCap. And let's just find out. And as soon as I go to hit enter, this site can't be reached. Yeah, awesome. But if anybody can pull up CoinMarketCap and tell me the supply of Doge, my guess is it's 132 billion or 135 billion, and it's going to keep growing, right? The real coin that you want to be getting on if you are a fan of Dogecoin is Litecoin, right? Litecoin is the big brother to Dogecoin, right? They're merged mine together, right? But Litecoin is the way to go. And if you've been paying attention, Litecoin is going up like, I don't know, like I want to say 15% in the last 3 days, because somebody, oh, there you go. Somebody did pull up. Thank you. Let's see. Supply 140 something, 146 billion. Is that what it says? I can't see. It's so dang small. My screen.
Yeah, 146, 830 million, 736,000, 380.
Yeah. So we're now almost up to 150 billion, right? When I had a bag, it was like 132 billion, right? So now it's already like in 5 years gone up. What is that? Almost like 12 to 15 billion in supply. You don't want your crypto, right? Here's your token economics lesson of the day, right? When I'm shopping around for S coins, I literally look for anything like 10 billion or less. That's what I'm looking for, right? I don't like something that's growing in supply by the billions by the year. That's not going to give me alpha, right? Just like the clowns that, well, I shouldn't say clowns, just for the naive that think there's no alpha in Bitcoin. It's just like the maxis who think there's no alpha in the S coins. But when I'm looking at S coins, I don't look for something that's has an ever increasing supply that's going to keep growing into towards infinity. That's the dollar, right? That's what we're trying to get away from. That's why I've gotten away from Ethereum, because Ethereum is going the same route. Litecoin is the better product. And just the other day, the person that runs the Litecoin account was like, I feel I identify as a meme coin, and literally, I kid you not, Gate.io put it up in the meme coin listings just the other day, and it's off on a tear. And why is that? Because, like I've been saying for months and months and months on this show, is that as Bitcoin approaches 100K, the median prices for the miners' fees are going to approach $50 to $100. Well, guess what? Madi tried to do a transaction the other day. Guess what his fees were? 40 some dollars. You go over to Ethereum and you want to do a transaction on Ethereum, and Ethereum's bloated. Guess what? Oh, gas fees, $30, $40. So again, what starts to happen? The money starts to flow where it's easiest and cheapest, and that is Litecoin. So we've seen Litecoin go from $70 to almost $100 in less than 4 or 5 days. And as soon as Bitcoin hits 100K, like at that point, it's literally the fees will be again 50 to 100 bucks. Litecoin is going to be humming. And let's not forget, the number one payment in crypto this year, L1, is Litecoin. Surprise.
Okay.
So the other thing I wanted to pull up, and I know either Nick or you could do this pretty easy, if you could pull up a Coin Wars Bitcoin hash rate chart, because we want to definitely take a look at that, because it is looking tasty. A little snacky treat. Awesome. Perfect. So right in that top right corner, you can see we have this quad top formation where we can see the hash rate is touching like right close to 850 exahashes 3 times here. So literally, like I said, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, this is the setup, right? We are seeing all of these firms, all of these companies set up their mining operations all over, North America, all over Texas, all over South America, all over the world, right? And right now is the time, right, where we're about to see Bitcoin's hash rate explode from from exahashes to zettahashes. And this is, again, big time. This is the big time. And we're just going to see an expansion of Bitcoin's energy. And this is a good thing, right? This is for all those people who've been brainwashed into thinking that Bitcoin's bad because it uses energy. You are wrong. Why this is a good thing is because Bitcoin is the most amazing load balancing tool that was ever engineered, right? So why is this important? Because over the next 20 years, what is going to happen is that the price of your electricity is going to drop drastically. So this is awesome for businesses, right? This is awesome for Bitcoin miners, right? Because Bitcoin miners, when the cost of production starts to drop, that means they're going to be making more money and less overhead, right? So all of these things are good. But the examples we've used time and time again, right, is Texas, right? It's summertime. The air conditionings are all humming. All of a sudden, ERCOT, oh my gosh, the grid is starting to, they have red alert, everything's starting to slow down. ERCOT gets on the phone. They go, boop, 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 boop. Hey, Riot, can you shut down? Boop, 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 boop. Hey, Mara, can you shut down? They go, yes, we can. How much? And they're like, oh, we'll give you like $1 million. No problem. And they shut down. And then the grid stabilizes, right? And then we don't have people going, oh my gosh, I'm going to melt. Or a few years back when it was wintertime and everyone was literally freezing to death, right? This is what Bitcoin does, right? It literally fixes things that you never thought were a problem, right? I never used to know what load balancing was a couple years ago, right? But it's literally going to protect our grid. And there is not much protecting our grid. And Bitcoin is like a really low-tech way to like slap on some high-end technology onto a low-end system, and boom, we have it protected. We have protection, right? Not just from the bad guys, just from, like I said, all these people simultaneously turn on their air conditioning. It protects from that, right? I don't know how many times I got to tell people air conditioning is a bigger threat to the grid than Bitcoin. Bitcoin protects the grid from these types of accidental shenanigans, right? Like it can get to 110 in Texas in May, right? And all those people got to turn on at the same time. This creates that huge spike in demand. And like I said, ERCOT calls up the miners, they power down, that huge demand spike goes down. Everyone can be cool, literally can be cool, and not have worries that their grid in their area is going to go down and they have a brownout or a blackout.
Brownouts and blackouts. What else you got?
The future is bright. Bitcoin.
What else you got?
So let's see. I got, so this one was, I wanted to share. We tried to start it at the beginning of last show. Matt. This is Dennis Porter. And something interesting I didn't know about Dennis Porter was that his parents live in El Salvador for about 15 years. But can you get that off of my page, Nick? I still have it up. Let me see. Nope, my internet's not working. Hold on.
Here.
Oh, there it is. Perfect.
It's like freezing on you or something.
Future senator.
Absolutely doing so good. Glad to be here in a new home away from home. For those that don't know, my parents have lived here for 15 years, and so it's exciting to finally come down and be able to visit and hang out with everyone and truly experience everything that El Salvador has to offer.
I did not know that your parents lived here for 15 years.
That's right. They've seen the entire journey, and they have been very excited about the progress that El Salvador has made. We have seen this country absolutely move the right direction. Crime is at an all-time low. There's buildings everywhere. There's massive infrastructure projects. We're like watching an underdeveloped country become a developed country in real time.
Absolutely, absolutely. But listen, I want to kind of pivot the conversation to what's happening in the States. A major, major election sent shockwaves throughout the industry, but you have really been focusing on the state level. And you made a major announcement today, just to kind of give you guys a quick recap in case you guys haven't been tuning into the news. A couple days ago, the state of Pennsylvania representative, of which, Dennis, you spoke with him, announced that Pennsylvania is potentially seeking to put Bitcoin on their treasury, which is massive news. But you made an announcement today on stage that, did you say 10 other states are looking into that as well?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So the state of Pennsylvania has absolutely introduced this strategic Bitcoin reserve legislation, and it's not the only state. It is just the first domino to fall. We are speaking with lawmakers across the country. We have now up to 10 states who are interested in introducing this type of legislation. So that means that we have 10 lawmakers in 10 different states who are ready to introduce strategic Bitcoin reserve legislation. And this is just the very, very beginning of the movement. We're going to see some news on this probably just within a month or so, maybe less, here in the United States of another state introducing this type of language. But it doesn't just stop there. We also have 4 different lawmakers in 4 countries across the world who are also interested in using our model language of Satoshi Action. to have their state start buying Bitcoin.
This is absolutely massive news because, I mean, you're not only seeing this on the federal level, but you're seeing this on the state level, which, I mean, I think one pressures the other. Is that correct to say that?
Absolutely. We definitely see that FOMO building from the states, because as the states are going to be buying Bitcoin and passing these types of legislations, all of a sudden it makes a lot more sense at the federal level. We often call the states the laboratory of democracy, and that means that there's a lot of opportunity for trial and error, for trying new ideas out and seeing if they'll work. We've seen so many things happen at the state level and move to the federal level, and so that's what we're trying to do with Bitcoin, strategic Bitcoin reserve legislation. Pennsylvania is the first state. We'll see another state soon, and hopefully, all in all, at the end of this, one of these states will pass this legislation into law, truly locking in the reality of a strategic Bitcoin reserve in the United States, and hopefully then that will lead to something that happens at the federal level.
That would be absolutely massive. It would literally massive break the internet. But I mean, Dennis, you have been very, very successful at passing other legislation in terms of protecting the right to self-custody, protecting the right to mine in various states throughout the states.
Yeah, that's right. And so what's happened is we've put ourselves in this position to be able to help lawmakers pursue cutting-edge, innovative policies like SBR language, because we have already helped them introduce and pass legislation across the country. We have legislation that's been introduced in over 20 states, and we have passed law in 4 states. 4 different governors in 4 different states said, yes, let's protect the right to mine Bitcoin, let's protect the right to self-custody, the right to run a node, the right to peer-to-peer transactions, and that set a foundation not only for those states to pass more innovative technology policy, but also for us to be in a position to say, hey, we've been here, we've done this, and we can help you get this legislation across the finish line.
Incredible. What would be, we're kind of heading close to the top of the hour, but what would be, if there's 6,800 people watching live, almost 7,000 people, what would be your message to policymakers and regulators in the United States, potentially if they're feeling a little bit uneasy about Bitcoin, they're not completely sold, what would be your message to them?
Well, Bitcoin as a technology has so many benefits that it can offer. Oftentimes when we talk to lawmakers, we get rid of all of the technical components of Bitcoin. We often say that most people don't know how the internet works, but they know what the benefits of the internet can offer. We know that we can watch this live stream in the middle of this conference. We know that we can call an Uber and call a car to pick us up. We can order Amazon online. And so lawmakers understand the benefits of Bitcoin and Bitcoin mining when you deliver that message to them. And now we're going to be talking to them about how they can secure their future with strategic Bitcoin reserve legislation. We can protect the security and the economic viability of the individual states, especially in the wake of with the last decade, the incredible amount of monetary debasement that's taken place. I think it's even more important that the states have strategic Bitcoin reserves than the federal government, who has a money printer and doesn't have full exposure to the negative impacts of monetary debasement.
Beautiful, because it protects the sovereignty of the states. All right, one last thing. Dennis Porter, talk a little bit about the fact that Bitcoin is bipartisan. It is for everyone. It is not a left and right thing.
Absolutely. I mean, for those of you that don't know me, I've spent a big part of my career advocating for Bitcoin as a nonpartisan or bipartisan technology. There is something in Bitcoin for both sides of the aisle. We see conservatives clearly love the sound money argument, the freedom component that Bitcoin has to offer, but those on the left-hand side of the aisle really do appreciate the ability for Bitcoin to be able to service the needs of people who don't have access to financial services, and also that it is not a money that you can discriminate with. You simply cannot discriminate with Bitcoin. It is open and permissionless, and that is something that appeals to everybody on the left. I mean, it appeals to everybody broadly, but it's something that the left truly cares about.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Dennis Porter, CEO of Satoshi Action Fund.
So we're in the beginning stages now, right? This is where we're at. We're in the beginning stages of hyper Bitcoinization. And I did have that definition pulled up. Let me see if I can share that. Let me see if this will work. I don't know if you can get that, Nick. Yeah, perfect. So basically, I'm going to read off the screen. Hyper Bitcoinization is the inflection point at which Bitcoin becomes the default value system of the world, as more individuals and groups around the world realize the advantages of a borderless, censorship-resistant, and natively digital system for transacting value. A critical mass of users will eventually fuel currency demonetization, and the replacement of our world's ingrained financial institutions and world powers with a more equitable, publicly driven system. And we are now right in the beginning of those stages, right? We just heard Dennis Porter say literally Pennsylvania is introducing legislation, right? There's and let's be very clear, they're not the first jurisdiction. There's a town in Texas. I forget the name of the town, but it's a smaller town in Texas that's been mining Bitcoin for about 3 or 4 years. And they have it on their balance sheet. So that is the first U.S. jurisdiction to do it. But this would be the state of Pennsylvania. That's huge. So I wouldn't be surprised if Pennsylvania is now putting it on this as a state reserve. Texas will be next, right? Let's be very clear. Texas, you're going to see a lot of conservative states do this because a lot of conservatives understand hard currency, right? They understand the importance of hard currency. And as more and more of the institutions like BlackRock and Fidelity put it on their balance sheets, it's a no-brainer, right? So my prediction, like I said, Texas, Kentucky, Tennessee, Ohio, who else? That was 4. New York, I wouldn't be surprised. California. I'm working on Oregon. I'm trying to get a job with Dennis Porter. So, hey, Dennis, yes, I've done lobbying. I literally lobbied the last governor. I called her office multiple times, emailed them multiple times. They finally, after I called for like the 12th time, I think Kate Brown's handler was like, you should call Bonamici. And I was like, no, you don't get this. So now Tina Kotek is the governor, and I've been gently prodding and poking with tweets from Dennis Porter about Bitcoin and what Pennsylvania is doing, right? And let's not get behind, right? We want to be the leaders in this technology. And why I'm so adamant about Oregon taking this stance is because Oregon, and I've been saying this for like 4 years, has cheap energy. We have lots of hydro, right? We have some wind. We have a decent amount of solar. So power is very affordable in Oregon. It's cheaper than Texas, right? There's so many good things about Oregon when it comes to energy, and there's so much stranded energy. And now there's a lot of people that don't know this, but just south of me, about like an hour or so, I think it's OSU is working on this new geothermal right out of Oregon, and this new type of geothermal would be a game changer. So I'm excited for the future. Again, all these people that think, I think Trump as a president for Bitcoin policy is a good thing, but all of what's happening to Bitcoin had nothing to do with Donald Trump, right? Let's be very clear. The hash rate, the demand, the ETF, the hodlers of last resort, right? The volume finally picked up. All of these things led to Bitcoin's price rise, not Donald Trump winning the election. That kind of was a little bit of pushing it over the edge, but that was not why Bitcoin pumped. Bitcoin pumped because its hash rate hit the highest it's hit on October 28th. It hit 945 exahashes per second, and that's a ton of energy. And again, we're going to see it go higher. We're going to see it hit a zettahash, and Bitcoin's the future, right? It's as simple as that. Everyone's starting to catch on. Now we're starting to see this global market of Bitcoin come into play, right? We have Dubai, right? Now they're a big player because of the the good news there, right? on all of their tax regulations. So what a lot of people in the West don't realize is that the UAE markets open like almost 12 hours after our markets close. So all of these people trying to short Bitcoin, you're literally trying to you're putting up your shorts in the West, or in some cases, you know, in Tokyo or in South Korea or wherever they're at, and then literally as you're putting up your shorts against Bitcoin, you have all of these crypto bros that live in Dubai that wake up and they see Bitcoin's down, and what do they go? Buy, 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 buy. And they're not just buying Bitcoin, obviously, they're buying all kinds of stuff, but they are moving the markets in the opposite direction against the grain of your positions. So if that made sense, yeah, you're just going to wreck yourself, just like that little meme that Nick put up. And that's what's been happening. I warned Gareth Soloway. I don't know how many times I've warned Gareth Soloway not to, you know, put these massive short. For him, it's not. I know he only has like, you know, 10K or 50K or whatever, but it's still a lot of money when it gets wiped out of your account in a mere instant. It's a lot of money. So I tell people, don't do it, right? It's like throwing gasoline onto a fire and betting the person to your left, like, oh, I can put this fire out with this pail of gas. Like, no, it's not going to happen. Just want to check something real quick. Okay, nothing's working. Awesome. All right, give me one sec. Check one, check two, check one, check two. Yeah, my internet, sorry. I don't know how long I was out there for, but I thought I had my phone on the mobile net, but I had my phone on the regular net. Sorry about that. But yeah, we're it's technical nightmare today. Sorry. But what I was saying over the last, let me say, I think 5 to 7 minutes, we were talking about hyper Bitcoinization, and it's here, right? We have states, Pennsylvania, right? I don't know if I got it in all the states I thought were coming next: Texas, Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, California, Nevada. And again, I'm trying to get a lot of these Bitcoin miners to move to Oregon, because Oregon has some of the cheapest energy in the country. We have a lot of hydroelectric, we have wind, we have a lot of solar, because the central Oregon's very sunny. So again, we are in these beginning phases of hyper Bitcoinization. And like I stated earlier, it's going to drive the cost of energy down. And this is going to lead to a huge economic boom. Now, obviously, the energy producers of the world don't want to hear that their cost of production is going down, but the Bitcoin miners like that. And if you're starting like a big business like Elon Musk, and you know your overhead for energy is X amount, and that could go down by 20 to 40% over the next 10 years, that's huge, right? If you're Coca-Cola, if you're Ford, if you're any one of these huge companies that, you know, produces goods and services at a huge level, Amazon, etc. If the cost of your overhead goes down, especially electricity is one of the biggest costs of overhead in business, this just leads to more capital, right? And if that company has more capital, they can do more things, right? But yeah, we're here. We're in the beginning phases of hyper Bitcoinization. Now we're hearing, you know, like I said, states announce that they're going to do this. Now we're going to hear new nation states, right? We're going to hear, you know, probably, and I was, you know, it's not a reach, but China is going to reverse their position, right? Because they can see that the U.S. is going to embrace Bitcoin fully, and this is a huge deal. And as you know, the world catches on that the U.S. is now going to be the leader in Bitcoin adoption, that's huge, right? So who's next? Can't say. South Korea, North Korea, even. I don't know. But there's going to be a lot of big players that reverse their opinions and positions on Bitcoin. It's all about to happen. Yeah, there's the article from Hashkey CEO saying the same thing I said about a week ago, which is that China is going to pivot. When are they going to pivot? Don't know. They'll probably won't make it official until they have their position, right? All smart investors, before they start talking about a financial tool or product, they usually scoop up a bunch of it, right? So the CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald, before he started talking about Bitcoin, he bought a bunch, right? So I would venture China will scoop up a bunch and they'll be like, yeah, Bitcoin's cool. Yeah, because they're going to start to realize this too. When China realizes what TEPCO is doing, right? And let's just go over TEPCO's project. So Tokyo Electric Power Company is basically taking their stranded solar energy when there's no demand, there's low demand, and they have high production, right? So there's lots of sun, but it's like fall, right? So there's not, people don't really need to turn on their heat, and there's not, people aren't turning on AC. So the demand is very low at that point, and they're generating tons of power. So at these points, what do? They go off grid, they go onto the ASICs, and now they're generating money, and they're not hemorrhaging money, right? They're literally creating Bitcoin, right? So, two things. When China figures, that Bitcoin is the carbon credit, distribution credit, cash, store of value, whatever you need it to be, whenever you need it to be, it's over, because they chug energy, right? There's only one other country on the planet that uses as much energy as the United States. That's China. So when they figure this out, it's lights out, right? That's when Bitcoin goes to $1 billion, right? And I was the first person to say that, right? I was the first person to say that Bitcoin can eliminate income tax. I was the first person to say that Bitcoin, oh shoot, I just lost my train of thought. Bitcoin. Oh man, I just had a brain fart. Sorry. But yeah, this is, $1 billion. I was the first person to say Bitcoin could hit $1 billion. I said it in 2019 or 2020. I think it was 2019. And then a year or two later, here comes Fidelity right in their prospectus. Oh, Bitcoin, not did they say Bitcoin could, Bitcoin will hit $1 billion. And I was like, oh, someone said that a few years back. Yeah. I wonder who. But yes, we're heading into rare air. Like I said, once we blow through all of these short positions, and we get to 100K, it's rare air. I don't know how hard and quick Bitcoin's going to jump. I don't know if it's going to jump like 100K, or 30K. I don't know. It's Bitcoin. It does whatever it wants. And that's why, it's one of the most amazing things ever created. There's my dog trying to say hi. Hi, Blue. But we are in rare air. Everything's starting to come true that I thought would come true. Right now, there's rumblings of, Trump talking about no cap gains tax on Bitcoin, just like El Salvador. Oh, where are these coming from? Oh, well, Matt Gaetz goes to El Salvador all the time, and Matt Gaetz is going to be the new AG, right? So every time Matt's talking to him about Bitcoin, what do you think he's talking about? Oh, here's what El Salvador is doing. Here's what El Salvador is doing. Here's what El Salvador is doing. Thanks, Matt. I never thought I'd say thank you to Matt Gaetz. But yeah, all of my blue, give me a second. All of my Bitcoin, like dreams and fantasies are like coming true. Like it's crazy. I'm super excited. I'm sorry about all the technical troubles this morning. But you know, the future's bright. The future's bright because you can't stop it now, right? It's an international global product, and now we are on the precipice of, you know, the real hash wars, right? We already have corporate America starting to figure out what the hash wars are, right? From, you know, Marathon to Riot to all these companies, they're building up their mining companies because they realize like that's the future. And like I said, when nation states start to figure this out, you know, outside of El Salvador, it's only a matter of time before Bitcoin just goes off to the races, right? Like we kind of discussed this a teeny bit. Like Bitcoin should have hit 120,000 in 2020, but it didn't because FTX was literally like they had a big bag and they were dumping, right, and shorting Bitcoin hard. And like I said earlier, they weren't the only ones. BlackRock had a huge position that year, and I think right around when Bitcoin came back into the 30s, I think it was like right around 33K. If I'm not mistaken, BlackRock's huge short paid out, and I think I mentioned this earlier. That's when I think were the beginnings of Larry Fink and BlackRock start to fall in love with Bitcoin. And like I said earlier, the new pattern that I've been finding is that right around the beginning of the first week of every month, the spot ETFs are very unique, right? They technically do have to buy Bitcoin, but it's not like on a daily basis, right? They're not buying spot Bitcoin Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, right? Basically, all this cash comes in and it sits in the coffers for about 30 some days. And then after all the cash is collected, then Coinbase buys the spot. And that's when we're seeing these huge like bumps because so much money is coming in one direction for the ETF. And the ETF this time is acting as a stabilizer. And like I said in one of my little videos I made a few weeks back, that's why we're not going to see these huge, you know, 20 to 40% pullbacks. We're just going to see like 3 to like 10% dips. And those are your dips. Like Samson Mao pointed that out the other day, right? He was like, buy the dip. And I was like, yeah, that's it. You better buy it and scoop it because they're going to get those dips are going to get shorter or smaller and smaller, right? They're not going to be these huge declines anymore until we possibly top out at like whatever that number is, 300K, 1.5 million, don't know. Yes, nice Litecoin meme. But yeah, Litecoin is definitely the next big boy to come into the space. It literally has been a workhorse, right? You can just do your own research, but I tell people, look at the amount of actual hodlers that hold Litecoin. Go look at the actual amount of transactions that are done on Litecoin. These are all real numbers, right? Go to BitPay and look on BitPay and see which is the most number one used crypto. It's not Bitcoin. It's not XRP. It's not Ethereum. It is Litecoin. Why is that? Because Litecoin is faster, right? Litecoin is more secure than a lot of these other S coins, right? People are like, oh, I'm going to, you know, my life savings into MOG. It's like, no, or Pepe or whatever. It's like, again, anytime I'm looking at S coins, right, the first thing you should take into consideration is you want the model to be like of Bitcoins, right? You want 21 million or less. That's amazing. But in the S coin universe, you're not going to get that. But what happened over the last couple of years is that the S coins on Ethereum and other networks, the people that designed those projects, they had no concept of mathematics or token economics, right? So Pepe, for example, Pepe supplies like 420 some trillion, not billion, trillion. Safe Moon, when that Safe Moon came out, and I told everyone, don't touch it. I've been looking at the smart contract, I've been doing math, and nothing's adding up, right? But Safe Moons was like 2 quadrillion. Like, what? Like, are you people like paying attention? Now I'm not a huge fan of Solana because Solana breaks, but all the projects that people are building on pump.fun, as stupid as some of them are, the token economics behind them are far superior to all of the meme coins that came out on the last run, right? Like I said, that have trillion supply, quadrillions, 500 billion, right? Like these are huge numbers that if you're not good with math, it just sounds like a word, right? You're not contemplating the magnitude of order that it really is, right? But when you go over to pump.fun, the people that build these projects are like, well, that's stupid. Trillions is stupid. Correct. So most of the projects on pump.fun are 900 million, right? 8 billion, right? Maniki's 8.8 billion. Took like these are the ones I've invested in, right? Maniki, 8.8 billion. Could it hit $1? Yeah, it could hit $1. I've seen things with 50 billion supply hit $5. So yes, Maniki can hit $1. Tooker has like 900 million in there. That thing could hit 10, 20, $30. All depends on how much money comes into the market cap, right? But yes, it could easily hit like $10, no problem. Not financial advice, but I'm just pointing out what I'm into, right? The other one I'm into is Crying Cat, super low market cap. Don't throw your whole life savings, right? These are bets. These are long shots, right? You throw like $100, $200. And if it does go in the direction you want, you start dollar cost averaging up and building that position, right? I just bought some more Tooker last night. I found I had a BNB coin laying somewhere, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's like, how much am I? Wow. And I was like, I'm gonna go buy a soul and go buy some more Tooker, and that's what I did. But yeah, that's why I'm very bullish on these Solana meme coins, because they don't have insane token economics, right? They have very I would say smart token economics, right? They're trying to make sure that not just a few people make a lot of money, that a bigger group of people makes a big chunk of money, right? Because when you have those huge supplies, you have to have a massively huge position for you to make a big chunk of change. Like Pepe, now that it's gone up so much, you have to have a massive, huge position. And one other thing I want to teach before we get off today about S coins is you can't trust these influencers, right? Even the successful ones, because even the successful ones who were broke like 5 or 6 years ago, they're not investing in they don't have the same investment strategies as they did when they had zero money. Now that they have hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars, they can invest in projects like Pepe, like Bonk, and they can buy like $100,000 position. And then they just needed to go up 10, 20%, and they make a lot of money. You cannot do that. So don't follow these influencers, even the successful ones. What you want to do is you want to do your own research, right? You want to go, what I tell people is you download a couple of exchanges, right? Crypto.com, Kraken, Coinbase, right? There's just 3. These are just examples, but every jurisdiction's different, right? There's certain countries where you won't be able to get Kraken. There's certain countries where you won't be able to get Coinbase. But download like 3 or 4 exchanges. If you can get Binance, the original, not the other versions, it's usually a good one. But you have like 3 or 4 exchanges you download, right? And then you go to newly listed coins, right? And then you start researching those coins, right? And see how big the supply is, see what the market cap is, right? When people come to me and say, oh, I want to put 5K into Bonk, I'm like, no, don't do that. Go buy Bitcoin, right? Especially if they're new, right? If you're brand new, don't be trying, jumping head first into the S coin pool, right? Like that's not where you do. That's like, grabbing like, a really fancy surfboard and like running out into the pipeline at the North Shore and be like, yeah, let's go surfing. No, right? You got to go to Waikiki, learn on the smaller waves, and then come back, right? So that's why I always tell people, learn about Bitcoin first, just to be safe, right? Because you want to learn how all of this stuff works, and then understand risk management. And then, okay, you've got some extra capital, you got a couple hundred or couple G's you want to throw into something. That's cool, but do your research, right? And if you're seeing it all over social media, then no, don't invest in it, right? Like, no offense. If you're seeing 9 million tweets about it, you've missed the alpha, right? I look for stuff that nobody's talking about except like maybe 1 or 2 people, right? Because if you're seeing all these people talk about it on social media, that is a indicator to me, fundamental indicator that you've missed all of the alpha in that project. And that's a very key indicator, right? You want to be stacking when people are like, what, who, huh? Like Litecoin. I talked about Litecoin for almost a year. Nobody wants to hear a thing about it, but it goes up 15% the other day. Everyone wants to talk about Litecoin, right? Don't listen to those people. Right? Do not listen to one of them, because none of them were talking. I mean, obviously, if they were talking about it for like 12 months, yeah, listen to that person. Or Manakey, right? I've been telling Nick about Manakey for what, Nick? Like easily 3-4 months. I've been telling Nick about Manakey. I've been tweeting about it. Oh, it goes up 100% in like 4 days. Now everybody's talking about it. Manakey. Yeah. So if you're seeing all the Manakey tweets, yeah, you might be a little too late. It's still under 2 cents. So it depends on your war chest, right? If you have a huge war chest, yeah, Manakey is probably a good buy. The reason why Manakey is going to hit $1 now is because all of these people are talking about it, right? And Crypto Man Rand tweeted about it the other day, right? And Da Vinci J tweeted about cat tokens. I said cat tokens were going to be a big thing in, I think it was like 2021, because I was like, there's like literally, I'm going through the coin market cap, and the last meme run, it's like, all these dog coins, Doge, Dojinu, Shiba Inu, this, that Inu, like, I don't know how many dog coins. So like literally I go on to Binance, I'm like, cat coins. And literally I bought like 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I bought like 4 or 5 cat coins on Binance, on the BNB chain, like in 2021 or something like that. I was just 3 years off. That's all, right? I'm usually ahead. It's just I'm usually way ahead. Like I don't realize like how far ahead I am. So that's why I just got to be patient. And so that's why, like I said, I have a big bag of Manakey. I have a big bag of Crying Cat, because people love animals, right? This is something I found out about, I guess maybe like 6 or 7 years ago. So I mean, obviously we all know people love animals, but I'm saying to a level ingrained in media, right? This goes back over 100+ years. I kid you not. One of the very first movies ever made by Edison was this little basket, and it had like 4 or 5 kittens in it. I shit you not. So the fact that meme ideology has been around for like 100 and some years, yes, I'm not kidding. So people have been loving cat and dog like media for over 100 years. This is the next extension of that, right? We saw it go into YouTube and all over social media. Cat dogs, uh, cat videos, dog videos, all types of pet videos. Now this is the next extension of that, where we're seeing that ethos transfer into the crypto world, right? And Dogecoin was the first one. And now we're into the kitty tokens. Ding, ding, ding. Anyway, be safe out there. We're going to wrap it up. Thanks to our sponsors. Sorry about all of the technical issues. Thank you for hanging in today, Nick. Sorry, Maddie, because I know you were having technical issues. Thank you for everyone that hung through all the tough times. I hope you got a lot of helpful information. And let's thank our sponsors one more time: Quantum Economics, Quantum Expeditions, and Shield Folio, and the team at Bitcoin Live. Thank you so much, and have a great one. Take care.